Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. It's been a little while, but glad to be back. My name is Ferris. This is beer time, or should I say cider time? Seems like a lot of the consensus seems to be the cider and kind of off-kilter beer drinking videos seem to be getting a lot more popular. That's not to say that I won't still do beer reviews. I've got a couple on the back burner that I need to post and upload. But we're going to kind of focus on cider, and actually, since 'tis the season, I want to talk a little bit about wassailing. Now, you've all probably heard the carol, here we come a-wassailing among the leaves so green. Well, did a little bit of research into that. Now, there's two kind of definitions for wassailing. One is what you'd traditionally associate with caroling. Going door to door to your neighbors, singing carols with a few of your probably slightly inebriated friends, and hopefully getting refreshments on the back end. Kind of an interesting side bit on that, though, is even older, the medieval aspect of it is almost kind of superstitionish. You'd go out into your orchard and you'd sing and chant to your apple trees, thus to ensure a good cider harvest later on. Now, let's be honest, both of these traditions appeal to me. Ensuring good cider in the future and singing with friends, A+ in my book. That being said, let's focus on something new. What we got here is an offering from Julian Hard Cider. As they say on the back, American to the core. America's Premium Hard Cider. This is the first offering I've ever had from them, so let's see if this matches up. This is their Black and Blue. On the back of it, they advertise, hard cider was the undisputed champion of working class Americans from the founding of the colonies until the Industrial Revolution. Now it's making a 21st century comeback. Again, so far, nothing really new. Ladies and gentlemen, making its professional debut, sorry, I should say this in the boxing ring. Ladies and gentlemen, making its professional debut and weighing in at lean and trim 22 ounces, Julian Hard Cider challenges you to go a few rounds with our newest contender, Black and Blue. Driven by the passion to create delicious, high-quality craft ciders, Julian Hard Cider has artfully blended our 100% natural, fresh-pressed hard apple cider with the juice of American-grown and sustainably farmed blackberries and blueberries. At JHC, we feel that the best experiences are those that are shared, so we invite you to relax and enjoy our smooth, sessionable craft cider with friends and family, but don't let your guard down. With a 6.9% ABV, Black and Blue will knock you out. Well, let's see what happens on that. Now, again, they do make a point. Ciders traditionally are more sessionable. You do tend to get a pretty decent ABV without a lot of that beer body to it. And since this is a blackberry and blueberry cider, ciders have a reputation for being not quite as, well, let's be honest, no real booze beverage is healthy, but some of them have benefits. For example, red wine is known in moderation to cut down on heart disease. Beer is higher in fiber, and if you get some of the hoppier stuff, antioxidants. This, I'm guessing, with the blackberry and blueberry additives to it, will probably have its own antioxidants on it. Let's focus on the color for a minute. That is a really rich, dark purple, red, pretty much what you'd kind of expect from blackberry and blueberry juice. Kind of looks almost like your bug juice that you'd have at camp. The aroma you're kind of getting on that is almost a little bit of the yeast and a lot of the berry flavor on it there. All right. Very pleasantly tart. Not a lot of it's not bitter. It's kind of on the dry side for what you get a berry cider to be, but that is pretty good. It is definitely a cider. A lot of apple backbone to it, kind of carrying through that whole thing. As far as carrying the blueberry and blackberry flavors to it. But it's really almost overpowered by that kind of berry tartness to it. Which is to be expected. A lot of the sugar that you'd get that makes berries and fruit sweet is going to be leached out of this into making alcohol. So, dry, tart, but not overpoweringly so. Yeah, let's go back to that. That's good. All right. For you guys at Julian, julianhardcider.com. Excellent work. This is a really unique product. Hard cider is really going through kind of a, I don't want to say a renaissance. It isn't quite there yet. A pre-renaissance, if you will. Kind of like what craft brew went through about 10, 15 years ago. Where you've got a few guys that are really kind of getting it right and dialing it in, and everyone else is kind of either jumping in on the bandwagon or figuring out what works, what doesn't. I think you guys at Julian are onto something here. This is a very interesting product. It is gluten-free, like all ciders, or almost all of them. Other interesting stuff on the bottle. The bottle design is actually fairly minimalist. You've got the American Eagle, a couple of boxing gloves, which fit in with the, Sunday boxing theme on this thing here. Color's almost like a real kind of Merlot. Other than the fizziness on that, you could almost expect it if you just kind of let this air out for a little bit. You could possibly pass this off as like a fizzy red wine or a Merlot and pull it off there. Now, who would this appeal to? Any cider lover worth their salt, definitely try this. Other stuff, if you're looking to kind of introduce someone as an ambassador to what cider can do, if you know somebody that likes a good sangria, good substitute for that there. I don't know if it would be if someone's never tried cider for the first time and they kind of don't know what to expect. I don't know. But if you know someone that likes kind of sangria or that likes cider, this is definitely worth trying. I'll probably come back to a little bit more of the Julian hard cider stuff in the future. I know that they have a few other offerings out there. This one kind of appealed to me just because I hadn't seen too many things on the kind of berry side of stuff. Now, although there's a lot out there, if we get a little bit more money behind this, maybe we'll do back-to-back testing on it. But let's get into pricing and stuff. Now, as you can see, this is a 22-ounce bottle. Maybe Julian sells smaller, like 6-packs of it. I haven't seen it. Got this at the Beverages and More. It was about $4.50, $5 and change. Worth it? If you're a cider lover, definitely. Or if you want to split this with a friend, to tailgate, absolutely. Like they advertise, the feel for it, it isn't very heavy on the palate and heavy as you're drinking it. It's fairly light. You're not going to feel bogged down or bloated or gassy when you have a serving of this. But be very careful. This is almost 7% ABV. This is potent stuff, even if it doesn't taste like it. Would I get it again? Would I get it again? I would. Mostly just as kind of a highlight for what cider can be like. This would be a great stand-in for if I know, like someone like my sister-in-law, for example, that likes kind of a sweeter side of things. A good, or someone that likes sangria, this is a good stand-in for that. Or if someone's like, like I like cider, but I want something a little different, do you have anything? I want kind of something tart and sweet and all that stuff. Otherwise, do I have the cider for you? Look, this is blackberries and blueberries on it. Which again, let me kind of circle back to. I do have to respect this because there is nothing, in my experience, more American than doing something because we can do it. Let's make a cider with blackberries and blueberries in it. Why not? Other than that, I can't really say too much more on this. It is good. It appeals to my palate. It touches on those real kind of like fruity, bitter, tart tastes on it. I don't know what you would pair this with food-wise. It does have that sweet, tart, bitter kick to it. I don't think you would serve this alongside a main course. Like, I wouldn't say that you could have this with, like, say, fish or steak or chicken or anything like that, just because it's so tart and fruity that almost overpowers anything else that you'd throw with it. Maybe a salad. If you were looking to, well, if you wanted something that wouldn't be doing all that, and if you don't care too much about flavor, maybe a good chopped salad or something like that, a little bacon, some ranch dressing, that sort of thing, and this bitter, tart fruit flavor can kind of cut that a little bit on the side. Or if you had like a cheese sampler or something, some Gouda, a little Manchego, some Toscana, something like that. And you were looking for a light dinner, but otherwise, it stands pretty well on its own. This is a cider that does kind of lend itself to being a session cider in the sense that you're not going to really look to pair this with anything, but if you and a friend are going to say, you know what, let's have a drink together, split a bottle of this, you guys won't have a bad time. Price, if I remember right, I think I touched on a little bit. This 22 ounce here ran me about $4.50. Did pretty good overall, I'd say. Would I get it again? I like it. It appeals to me. I don't know if it would be an everyday drink for me. But if I were to say to a friend, hey, look, you ought to try this, it's definitely worth a shot. Even then, it's worth trying out if you've never had it before. And who knows, it might be your next favorite beer. Or cider. Ha 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 ha. I do want to apologize about the lighting in this particular event. As you might have guessed, it is the holiday season. I've got my tree up on holiday lights. I don't have as many outlets as usual, so it is a little dimmer in here. That's all I got time for right now, though. In the meantime, As always, stay safe. Please drink responsibly. Please subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at iron_fox. My name is Ferris. Thank you for joining me. Cheers.